Dr. Naresh Duble. Naresh Duble ji, are you there? Naresh Duble ji is the head of marketing of Knauf Ceiling Solutions. Yeah, and he is the man who provides us acoustic classroom and that allow our student to listen completely. So if we'll not listen completely, we may not learn completely. So complete learning is required complete listening, and Dr. Duble allows us to listen completely. So he allows teacher voice to reach a student ear without any interruptions. So welcome Dr. Nable and Dr. Naresh, and please make your presentation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, no, we just said.
Now it's visible.
Uh, Sir, you are sharing the sound, not the screen. You check it again, sir.
Yes, yes, no, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay now, sir. Thank you.
Great. So thank you for the gift of your time and attention and nice introduction. Yeah, yet to do my doctorate, but yes, sound and acoustic is something which I worked last 6, 7 years in schools. So when you're calling a green school on a green school conference, how about developing a school where students are not able to listen to what is being said? So the whole purpose of having a school construction done is to student to get what teacher is saying, like Virendra Rawalji said, and teacher to express fully whatever they know. So entire exercise in our country or across the globe has been on how good is the curriculum, how good is the teacher, but what is happening when they are meeting in the classroom? If they are not understanding each other, if they are not connected, then that school is ineffective to that extent. So it's good to have a green campus. It's good to have environment connection, but sound, which affects us cognitively, behaviorally, psychologically, whether we like it or not, it affects us all the time. So if we are not able to hear clearly, it's a handicap for any education system. So we'll see what is critical is speech intelligibility. Now let's understand a little bit about it. Now speech intelligibility is about having clarity of sound. So we talk about reverberation time. If the sound is reverberating, when I'm speaking, hi, how are you? When you say hi, you is in the air, it doesn't work. So that is governed by room geometry. So what is important is what is the size, shape, and dimension and material in the room. So the next important factor is background noise. And we all experience that if you are in noisy places, you're not able to understand what is being said by your next person standing next to you. So in a classroom, when speaker or a teacher is speaking, as you go away from it, sound diminish. This is like a pictorial thing. So we take the same fees from all the students, but do they listen equally is the question. So important parameter about education is knowledge. Yes, knowledge, also the awareness which get developed because of knowledge. And this awareness gives us choices. So awareness leads to choice. And when we take the choices, the change and innovation is possible. So with better awareness, we can make better choices, and change and innovation is just a byproduct. When we are moving to green schools or green buildings, we're talking about all the faculty and Laura Kim has beautifully staged up the conversations around taste, sight, touch, sound. But sound is something which is missing, but material part of it, we have made a huge progress. And I'm part of a Knauf group, which is uh, based out of Germany, has multiple businesses. And for the material leadership, we have certification and qualification with registration with major world over green champions. So all the materials, production processes, everywhere, the entire life cycle of the project, we take complete responsibility that leaves a minimum carbon footprint. That is given, that is must for human being. We need to move a stage beyond that to cause innovation and next generation learning for our kids. In India, we are fortunate. I was part of this National Building Code Committee where we got a world-class standards for classroom acoustics, yet it to be implemented. The first stage is to have those standards with us, and that is in place now. So for blind and handicapped school, we talk about 0.5 seconds reverberation. Reverberation is like 8 standard definition. It's a time required for sound to die by 60 decibel. Why 60 decibel we see behind? But let's understand, do you really teach in a school which is not having lights? No, we never do that. We want a daylight or artificial light. So what do we do? When do we teach in the classroom? Why do we teach acoustical darkness? What I mean by that is most schools are not designed. Are you able to get the sound?
RT study, IISCR, first floor, 110 classroom. Ceilings are gypsum fitted, doesn't give acoustics. We have best speaker on the wall, but if room is dysfunctional for reverberation, it doesn't help what speaker you and sound system you have. For such a small room of 80-seater, you don't need speaker. What you need is classroom design for reverberation time of 0.6 seconds.
Now this is exactly what I call acoustical darkness. The money is spent, the resources are done, it's looking good for eyes, but can be much functional if it is designed for sound also. Now, putting speaker is like putting a lot of powder on a carom board and putting striker with the force. It doesn't deliver the results though, right? So having right acoustical signature is critical when you're designing the classroom. So this study done across India for K-12, colleges, school, or coaching classes. And you see none of this qualify the current National Building Code because, like I said, acoustical darkness is not designed for it. So when we treat a one surface, which is a ceiling, which is omnipresent, most of the rooms does qualify for the code. Barring couple of schools here, which classroom which are larger, like you see the Central University of Rajasthan big classroom, so requires some wall treatment. The Cygnus School in particular is a platinum rated lead school in India. First platinum rated lead school in Gujarat, Baroda. It doesn't qualify because there are a lot of glass being used for daylights to come in and glass reflects. So probably we require higher absorbing materials on ceilings, not just 0.5 seconds. And we'll see a case study going further on this. And this is real research work done on the ground, telling us how the reverberation time in our classrooms are, and which is a big handicap for schools to learn, our kids to learn in the school. We have this Pratham Institute, which is releasing a report for last 14 years saying 7th standard kid cannot read 3rd standard books, or a 5th standard boy cannot solve a mathematical problem. It is not that they don't have the gray cells or teachers are not good, when they are meeting in the room, which may be dysfunctional. There are many other factors, but this factor can be under control and we can do something about it. This is a study of Kendriya Vidyalaya. There are more than 3,000 schools, which is government school, and this is the case study, which is showing. You can do a simple clap test, and on mobile app, you can see the reverberation time.
Kendriya Vidyalaya, 625 building, 30-seater classroom, the reverberation time of 2.63 seconds.
So it's a science. So instrument is not the best instrument in the world. Your mobile, my mobile can give a different reading, but you get an indicative reading on the same machine, on the same point with treatment done before, after. And we'll see the case study like that. This is the primary section.
Kendriya Vidyalaya Sector 25, Rohini, Delhi. This is a primary school section. Kids learn the languages here with a reverberation time of 2.2 seconds. It is very difficult for them to learn the words.
Now you can design the classroom without actually, we can do the test on simulators before construction. So that can help. And this is qualified for LEED green buildings or LEED schools. So LEED has clear parameter for background noise and reverberation time. Many other standards do not have it. In India, we yet to get it for IGBC standard. So this is an example of university.
Sounds unbelievable. I do not know whether it is correct or not.
This is our 1.5 second sound. And once the treatment done, this is how it sounds.
1.58, which is after the treatment that we are getting this.
Two different worlds exist, isn't it? So,
in doing so, you get the sound of mum.
Okay, I'll skip this because you can do a lot of studies for the first row sound, the third row sound, the last row sound, and there are simulators available for this. What I would like to show you though is a feedback from a teachers who experience teaching in the classrooms. And this is across the segment. We have a tribal school. We have the leading coaching classes in India, which is like very high end of the market. And we have a platinum rated school. So principals of all three talking to us.
When a teacher is teaching in the room where ceiling is installed, has to give lectures in a low pitch, and where the ceiling is not there, very high pitch they have to teach. Children sitting at the back were not able to concentrate. They were not able to hear the voice of the teachers who are not very loud. And we need to shout, and then the children used to get frustrated also that the teacher is always shouting all the time instead of getting a good rapport with the teacher, even though he or she was a good teacher. But here, when the teacher is able to talk properly, he or she can concentrate on the teaching, and throughout the day, the teacher teaches at the same pace, starting in the morning till the end of the day. Whereas where the ceiling is not installed, the teacher in the first and second sessions is very good while teaching, but when it comes to the end of the day, the teacher also gets frustrated, and then the lecture is not given properly.
My name is Naresh Duble, and I have been teaching for the past 10 years, and I typically take a lot of classes in a day, and it is very vital for me if I am speaking at a low pitch. And by the treatment that we had here back in resonance, I could lower my volume while speaking. That would save a lot of energy throughout the day, and it helps me immensely to teach students more energetically. Plus the sound clarity also improved. Like previous time, I used to switch off either fans or something so that I may exert less energy while speaking. But now I'm very much comfortable with it, and I find it to be very useful. And the class environment, my temperament, my mood, everything goes very nicely, and I'm very much satisfied.
Sound is very important medium for instruction. So actually आगे ये ज़्यादा इतना डेवलप नहीं हुआ, और ये एक हिडन फैक्टर है कि इस पे किसी ने कभी सोचा नहीं कि जो हम इंस्ट्रक्शन डिलीवर करते हैं वो स्टूडेंट के पास पहुंचता है कि नहीं. सो इससे ये जानने को मिला कि जो साउंड है वो क्लासरूम के अंदर एक इंटरनल अफेक्ट करता है. अगर उसको हम क्लियर कर पाए तो हमारी इंस्ट्रक्शन प्रॉपर लास्ट खास करके जो बैक बेंचर्स है वहां तक पहुंच सकती है. सो इसके लिए जो सर ने बताया कि हमको साउंड एब्जॉर्ब हो जाए ऐसी कोई सीलिंग लगानी चाहिए. सो प्रॉपर वेंटिलेशन भी होना चाहिए, और क्लासरूम में एक एरिया होना चाहिए कि जहां से साउंड की इंटेंसिटी कांस्टेंट तो नहीं बोल सकते, लेकिन इतनी होनी चाहिए कि जो बैक बेंचर से वो उसको सुन सके. फॉर एग्जांपल 30 and 13. अब मैं लास्ट बेंचर्स को बोलता हूँ 30, देन ही राइट 13, और अब उसको बोला 30 बोला तो बोलेंगे 30. ओके, सो ये मेन डिफरेंस है. ये तो सिर्फ एक एग्जांपल हुआ, ऐसे कई ज्यादा एग्जांपल्स हैं. पर AEI इंग्लिश सब्जेक्ट है तो उसमें AE का इसमें ज्यादा मिक्सिंग हो सकता है, बहुत सारे वर्ड्स है. सो इसको ठीक करना चाहिए. तो हम जितनी मेहनत मोटिवेशन में करते हैं, एजुकेशनल पर्पस में करते हैं, स्मार्ट क्लास लगाते हैं, कंसेप्ट क्लीन करते हैं, तो इस पे तो ज्यादा खर्च भी नहीं है, तो इसको करना चाहिए, तो ये ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट करेगा.
Yeah, so that was beautiful testimony of really saying what really matters inside the classroom, the life of student and teacher. We just explain some of the basic concepts so that it stays with us, why it happened, what happens. This teacher is speaking at 60 decibel, the background noise is 45 decibel. This is possible in a tier 2 cities or a boarding school, but in city school, the noises are 55 decibel or 60 decibel. Teacher has to really shout top of their voice to really reach out to 2-3 rows also, but understand why does it happen. Now, every doubling of the distance sound dies by 6 decibel. So first 1 meter die by 6 decibel, next 2 meter, next 4, next 8, 16. That's how sound travels in open field. So 60 decibel became 54 decibel, 48 decibel, like that it goes up. The next one is like, so 42 decibel is much below the 45 decibel, 3 dB. So as a young kid, if you are listening 3 dB less, you're not getting anything which is spoken in the class. And that's how the backbencher became the backbencher. But there are challenges which is from outside, and let's understand what those are. There are elements which are creating noise inside the classroom, like the fans, fans going at a full speed, not required. We require simple ventilation inside the class, and it can run at low speed where the noise level can reduce by 3 to 5 decibel, our study shows. Whether you're putting a windows or a wall to a traffic direction, big influence. So I've seen a large institute having a generator set in the back in a ground floor, which is giving noise level of 10 decibel across the building. Doesn't work. So we need to be mindful about the sound. And this is what I'm talking about. Like if a kid is 6 years or 8 years, if the signal to noise ratio is 1 dB less or 2 dB less, he doesn't get anything spoken. On his ears are not developed, he doesn't have vocabulary. If he's learning a second language, he has further disability. But the teacher goes and sit on the back bench, she get 90% of the words spoken and she understands the subject. So we need to understand how kids listen and listen from their diagram. And this diagram in the bottom left corner really demark it. If you grow up, even if 4 decibel, at the age of 14, you can be comfortable, minus 4 decibel signal to noise ratio. So you can do it something by reorienting your class. The long one doesn't help because sound doesn't reach. Because of inverse square law, you can orient the same class, same teacher, same background noise in a horizontal way. You can just orient the class differently. The best one is a teacher in the center, but not always possible though. So size, shape, and surfaces govern how sound clarity in the classroom is. The NC standards are 35 decibel, which is a good standard. Griha in India talks about 45 decibel in one of their documents. But Green School need to have mandatory background noise and reverberation time standard for school to work. If in school sound is not important, where else it would be? Because light and sound are the two important parameters through which the acquisition of knowledge happens. So this is a simulation again. You can see a 2 seconds and 5 seconds. I'm not investing time in that though. I'm going ahead with that, but yeah, you can achieve it by having ceiling tiles, wall treatment, and things like that. So what get delivered? So I would really urge you to go to your mobile app, download 2 apps from App Store. One is sound meter. So you can be mindful about sound around you, what the decibel level you are getting exposed to, and what is the reverberation time. You can do a balloon burst or a simple clap test as you saw in a previous case studies. And you know what is a reverberant, how reverberant this room is. European standard is 0.4 seconds, which is very good. And there are TED Talks by Julian Traeger. There are 5 TED Talks around sound and learning and building designing. I would really urge you to see those and the green building. And I'm really thankful for this opportunity. We should set some standard around sound if you want to immediately improve the productivity, effectiveness, efficacy, learning outcomes of current lot without really doing anything else, just improving the infrastructure. And Delhi schools has done a work. We have done work with Delhi chief ministers and schools. There are 60 schools has been transformed, and that case study is very well known. So there are more than 500 projects done. There is acoustic audit can be done. There is a case study on Mahavir Public School. Do we have 5 minutes to show this, or I skip this?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a case study in Mumbai, next to a Dharavi, which is the largest slum area, and next to a railway station on a main line. And this case study really gives you a complete summary of what is possible and what should be done for Green School to be functional. We have a C next door, and a minute I was feeling
we had classrooms.
Really works there.
I mean, how was
really enjoyed this case study.
Maybe there was a banyan tree or some tree like this, and there will be a whole lot of students. And then the teacher is here. He says on the stage, somewhere he says, comes and sits like this. Now imagine what happens to the classroom here. You have this classroom tied up with this wall on the side. There's a wall which closes here. There's a wall which comes up here. Ceiling fans come in, electricity comes in. The doors become double loaded corridors. So whatever this person is talking, there's a direct sound here. The sound is doing this, the sound is doing this, the sound is doing this, and it is coming from the ceiling also. That is where the confusion starts. Every word becomes different. Now, add to that, people do not realize that you have to speak very, very loudly, because I want my voice to be thrown to the last desk.
So this is what I said. What is my topic for today's verb? Is nothing but action. Easy for the action? What is that? A stands for action. S stands for H for absolutely correct. So let's try to understand more about verb. That is, in all we have two, that is finite and no, it is non-finite. Early morning, we just move to our classes. Over there, what we find that children are continuously busy in talking. So just we have to scream out to make them quiet. And at the same time, there are the voices which are coming from other classes. So it's very much becomes difficult. The children are unable to hear our voice. We can't shout louder. Then it happens like last 2 periods, we just go and sit. We can't teach. Speaking continuously with a very high pitch, it's very difficult by the end of the day.
I mostly like to sit on the first bench because I can hear the voice very clearly. The back benches cannot listen to the teacher what is saying. We can hear not clear sound.
I said before the verb, subject. So what is the subject here? Very good. So Deepa is what? Subject. After the verb, very good.
We were thinking of different options, like giving some sort of microphone to teachers so that the students can listen to them properly. But at the same time, if you do that type of thing, probably it will disturb the next class, and then that was not the real solution which we thought that time.
So the simplest solution available, which is just put a ceiling. Retrofitting is very easy. You want to do anything on the walls, it's not possible. On this side you have windows, here you have doors, you have some panels up there. How do I treat those walls? Nothing can go place here. So the maximum sound which is coming back to you is from the ceilings. If I'm able to put some absorbent material there, it works. That's an amazing thing.
So retrofitting is easily possible in a running school. It doesn't cost more also. Cost per student per year is not even a couple of rupees, Indian rupees, for 20 years life of these products. We transform education every hour, every class, every minute. It improves the light reflectivity also and a thermal insulation.
So this is before
you
the
can see the difference,
verb,
the background noise gone down.
Right? So before the verb, I can call as subject. Before the verb, we can call as subject. And after the verb, object. Seema teaches what? English. English is what? Object. Before the verb, subject. Before the verb, subject. When we came back after our Diwali vacation, I was quite like, what is this in the class? I was trying to raise my voice, but whatever I was speaking, it could reach the last bench very much clearly, and I was not getting distracted with the voices which were coming from the out. I don't have to raise my voice now. I don't have to scream anymore. It helps the children to concentrate and they can focus in the class, whatever the teacher is teaching. I think this will help them a lot. What they said that whenever teacher is speaking in the class, my voice directly goes to them. There is no chaos, nothing.
Earlier, the teachers have to speak loudly, but now it's not like that.
Before, some of them say that Mahalakshmi read loudly, read properly, and now they are not disturbing me while reading. The teacher's voice is very proper, and it is not pressurizing teachers and even students.
So I can hear the teacher now, hence I can give my exams really very well because I understand the topic now. From last bench till first bench, I can hear anywhere, any sound very clearly.
This verb. Have you heard this word verb? Yes. Okay. I don't want the correct definition. I just want the meaning, what exactly you understand from this verb.
Difference that I am experiencing as a parent now is actually visible, because
when we ask our children to study, we make sure that there is pin drop silence. TV band hai, there's no outside, the other children not disturbing and all that things. Staying here for 5 hours, and if you're studying, then that should be the main first condition that has to be fulfilled. There should be no noise, there should be no confusion, there should be no disturbances.
Our school is on the main road and railway tracks. It was so noisy and soundy that we couldn't hear. Children never used to complete their lessons. It was incomplete every time. But now with this, now I entered the class. It is so quiet and very, means really I'm feeling so cool sitting in the class.
So now even if she sits on the last bench, she's still able to hear what the teacher is saying. And this is a very good move taken by the school.
We are not a very rich school. We are, as we said, we are catering to poor, and we don't charge any single paisa from any of the students, no donation, nothing. So we are always starving for money, and in that type of school having such high class technology was not simply possible.
We are playing with the lives of the children here, direct life of the children. The productivity goes down. What does it cost? I did some numbers. If a bad classroom exists, my efficiency goes down by 20%. 15 days of a teacher's salary or maybe 1 month of a teacher's salary is what it costs to treat this classroom. The whole thing can be done in 2 days' time. It doesn't require a long chain of fittings here.
This Ganesh Mandal of this Vadara Ganpati, they were the first to sponsor our project, and we did our second floor with this acoustic ceiling. And then from HDFC OK, they also came forward and they sponsored 3 floors for us.
Why this project and why not some other project? Now we have visited more schools and we never felt that there was a need to do it. While we also sensed that there were other areas that could be improved, this was one area which never caught our mind till we visited this school as part of our visit to see what improvements can be done. And what we felt was that this the noise here was immense on the 2 floors, and apart from the facility that the school had, this was one thing that it needed most.
The government has made the CSR type things, which industry can contribute from its profits for the education.
This small change, it could lead to a very high value, much higher than what it could be brought about by installing other equipments, which is the reason why we set about doing this. It is a new addition to our CSR program. So this will help us in setting up a good product for the next generation to, lay a solid foundation for, the country, and also in terms of giving value back from the education that they receive.
Really, students are getting benefit. We are really understanding the usefulness or the importance of sound in the education system.
The students are able to receive a better quality of teaching, which means that lesser time is spent in